Congratulations.
Right. Thanks for joining us at Wembley Stadium ahead of the forthcoming fixtures with Portugal and Spain. And Anton, we'll begin with you.
Morning, Sarina.
Morning.
Good and bad news, I suppose, on the injury front going into the squad. So, start with the good news. Seeing the likes of Georgia Stanway back and Alex Greenwood and Lauren Hemp. Start with Georgia. How pleased are you that she's available, and how available is she?
Yeah, of course, I'm very happy some players come back. We still need to build. She starts full training, and what we hope that he comes into camp and continue building with us, and hopefully towards the Euros, which of course important that she's healthy, that she can manage, she can handle loads, training loads, and recover from it, and then perform at that level. And we have the time to see that.
Georgia would play for England with a leg hanging off, like she was that determined. So, is it going to be a case of almost sort of just kind of bringing her back slowly? And does she have enough games to get to where you want her to be by the Euros?
Well, of course, we don't play that many games, and there's no competition anymore except for the players in the US. But there's enough training, and we need to figure out if she gets her performances right. Then, of course, you need to be healthy. You need to be able to train and recover from training sessions, and then hopefully we can build and see where she's at. And she needs to be performing at the highest level, at her highest level, to compete for a position as anyone else.
Lauren Hemp and Alex Greenwood are both back as well. How happy are you to see them back? And again, Lauren hasn't played a full 90 minutes since November either. So is that another concern?
Yeah, of course it is. But again, we still have 2 months, almost 2 months. We're a little bit late if we take 2 months, but we have to keep building on that, and then manage it well to keep fit. I don't think we need to keep them fresh, but keep fit. And as I said, keep building and see what she's able to. And of course, again, she needs to perform at her highest level too, but she showed so many things before she got injured that she built some credit.
The World Sevens tournament will see probably those 3 players maybe in it. Do you have a say in whether they go, and do you want them to go, and do you want your England players to go, considering, yes, you don't have many games, so it's essentially a good runaround, but at the same time, it's a risk, isn't it?
Well, players have very different schedules the upcoming 2 weeks. We have been in contact with clubs, we've been in contact with players, and they do what's right for them to get ready for the international window, and also, of course, having the Euros in their mind too. So we talked about this. It's up to them to communicate whether they will go or not. And everyone, as I said, has a different schedule and comes from different places. So if you talk about Lauren and Alex, it's different than other players who have played throughout the whole season. Also some players, and they see it as an opportunity to, in a different way, get some training, playing minutes in, being aware of don't overload, be smart, because there's a bigger picture in this. So I don't think it's bad. Just do the right things and do the right thing as an individual too.
So, Lauren James, obviously she's been missing with a hamstring injury. How is she? And the fact that she could only potentially play 1 game before the Euros, if she's able to, does that put her squad, position the squad in jeopardy?
Again, with her, of course, she's in another position than other players, so we look as an individual. She's where she should be at. She is at. She can't join us in the next camp, but again, also with her, we're trying to build together with club. She really, of course, as many other players, wants to go to the Euros, and hopefully we can get her fit and ready to go into it. And then again, these 3 things are important. She needs to be healthy. She needs to be able to train and recover from training. And then you can build a bit. And of course, we also know finding balance in your squad. You can't bring in 3-4 players who are in that stage, but probably, one player that has been doing really well, that could be an opportunity.
Thank you.
Thanks. Questions from the floor? Yep, Courtney.
Hi, Sarina.
Hi. Congratulations, Courtney.
Thank you very much. You've named quite a big squad, 27-player squad. The fact that you are managing a lot of injuries and players coming back and probably managing their minutes, is that a potential reason behind the bigger squad?
That's one of the reasons too, but I also want to see more players and don't want to make final decisions now because we still have 2 games to play. And after that we'll make final decisions. And so I don't want to make that decision now for the Euros and now maybe have some players out who are still in contention for the Euro squad too.
So it's certainly not closed. You've not made your mind up just yet. There are players that can work their way in these last few moments before the Euros.
Yes, we can go with a squad of 23. We also, we just spoke about some players are in different places, and I just want to see them in our environment if that's possible when they're fit enough to train and make minutes to see how everyone relates to each other.
There's been a lot of success for teams like Chelsea, obviously going unbeaten this season, the same with Arsenal, the Champions League final. Do you think that domestic success is going to help the players going into the Euros as well?
Yeah, I think playing at the highest level, competing at the highest level, being under that football pressure, I think really helps. They know what's demanded, what's asked, and with that experience, I think that will absolutely help you moving forward into major tournaments.
Thank you.
Thanks, Courtney. We'll go to Emma.
Hi, Sarina.
Hi.
Just on obviously having Alex, Georgia and Lauren come back into the squad, I wonder how much will that help the rest of the players in the squad as well in terms of building that rhythm and that familiarity with those players, having them back and building those connections?
Yeah, they haven't been around for a while, of course. So that is really good news that they're back in. Everyone, the closer you come to the tournament and also to the final stage of the Nations League, players really want to show. And I hope exactly what you say, that get these connections very quickly, get the performances to a higher level, and making it really hard for me and my technical staff to make decisions.
And it might seem like an obvious question, but just how important are those 3 players in particular to England and to have them potentially, starting to build that fitness with the Euros in mind?
Yeah, they have played a very important role for the team, but I think also other players stepped up over time. So the competition, when everyone gets fit and ready to go, I think the competition is really high, and that's what we want because, of course, that will push everyone too. So that brings the standards of the training higher again because we have the best players in, and that's really good to have and to see, and hopefully makes it hard for me to make decisions.
Just finally from me, Ella Morris, you've given her a first call up. What was that like when you told her the news, and what has she sort of shown with the under-23s and with Tottenham that made you want to bring her into the squad?
Yeah, we've been following her for a while, of course, because she's a very talented player. She said, she couldn't believe it. Well, it's true. So come in and enjoy and show what you can do. But no, she's done well. She's like a fullback. Her physicality, I think, is really good. She has showed some consistency. She has done really well in the under-23s. And I really want to see how she relates in our team, how close is she for a selection and ready to play or closer to playing. It's also really good because it's pretty, close to the Euros. But the under-23s, they do similar things off pitch with us. So she hears the same messages, what we're working on. Although, that's a different team, different players. But in general, in principles, how we talk about football and how we do other things off the pitch, there's a lot of similarities. So she shouldn't be really starting at 0 when she comes in.
Thanks, Sarina.
Thanks, Emma. We'll go to Kit.
Hi, Sarina. Can I go back to the sevens, because England are the only country with 2 clubs in the competition, and I think they could have the most players in the competition as well. Is that at all concerning or frustrating for you, or do you see it as a chance for some of your players to get some match action at a time when they otherwise wouldn't be playing?
Yeah, as I just said, we've had conversations with clubs, we have conversations with some players, and they, in the back of their head, they know what they are preparing for too. So I think it's also an opportunity. Some people really enjoy it. It's a 7-a-side, so it's a different load. So of course they're not going to overload themselves. They're going to do smart things if they're in. knowing what's ahead of them, and that's of course the Nations League, but also the major tournament with the Euros, and they really want to be in competition for that. So I don't see it as a big problem for this in this 7-a-side in the future. What we spoke about in April too. I don't know how they're going to get that into the schedule, but now there's 2 weeks. For some players, there's 2 weeks of no competition. They're in training, and this is then a way to stay fresh and don't drop in their levels.
And also, just to go back to Lauren James, she's obviously had problems with her hamstring now. She's had a calf problem, a foot problem. There's been a few problems over the past 12 months. Just how confident can you be, I suppose, that her fitness can be relied upon for the Euros?
Yeah, we don't know. She's working really hard to get fit. I think you say these things now. Yes, that's a fact too. But it's also a fact that she performed really well, and she developed so quickly and so well, and really showed up for Chelsea and for us, I think, working really hard too. So I just want to give it a chance. She's a special player who has moments in the game that she can be decisive. So yeah, let's see how far she gets and what she can bring us. And I know she's absolutely working really hard to get there.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kit. We'll go to Sandra.
Hiya, Sarina.
Hi.
Just following on from some of what you were saying there, and with obviously the bonus of Lauren Hemp returning, Lauren James obviously battling to get back into your thoughts ahead of the Euros, but then obviously the emergence of Michel Adjeman. Does it feel like you're now getting a bit of a headache with the forwards, given there's now this, as we would see, a growth of the number of forwards who, reliable for England, but then also with the likes of Michel Adjeman, who's just, don't like to use it, but burst onto the scene, so to speak.
Yeah. And when everyone's fit, we have big decisions to make, because I think we have very many options up front. I think in the team, even in other lines, then we have options too. But yeah, I hope everyone does really well. And of course, it's really nice to have that opportunity again before the Nations League, have these 2 games and train together. And I hope I'll get a lot of headaches, because that means that everyone's performing at their highest level, and we have decisions to make. And
just in terms of bringing Michel Adjeman back, I mean, what do you hope to see from her in this, as you say, the shorter space of time?
I think she's a very, very high potential talent. She's very powerful. As we have seen, she can score goals. In duels, I think she needs to calm down a little bit because she's so powerful that she makes some fouls. We spoke about that already. So hopefully she can manage a bit when you play the duel, when you don't almost destroy your opponent. Little things like that, and the game understanding. But we need to see a little bit more from her in our squad and see how the tactics come across.
Great, thank you.
Thanks. Any further questions? Yeah, we've got 2. We'll go to the back. Thanks, Kit.
Hi, Sarina. I just wanted to ask about Lotte Vermooy. Obviously, she's been quite unlucky with injuries this season. Is she close to being your future plans with the squad?
Well, she's a little further away. I've been speaking to her. She's a little further away. Had an injury. Then, of course, didn't get that many minutes. She's not starting at Arsenal. So, and there's competition in her position going on too. So, yes, there's conversations going on, but what I just said, she's a little further away.
And also, Missy Bokan, she's back in the squad. What have you seen from her that you've enjoyed?
Yeah, of course, when she came out of the winter break, she had to recover. She was in rehab a bit, but after that, she started playing. What I see is some intensity in her game. She can play on different positions on midfield, and what we've been talking about too. What she out of position, she tries to get more and more in duels too, but mainly also in possession. I think she has been pretty dynamic and had a contribution also with the under-23s, but also with Aston Villa.
Perfect, thank you.
Thanks. We'll go to Jamie.
Hi, Sarina. You might have 4 players in the Women's Champions League final as well, with Arsenal obviously being there. I guess you can't really tell them to be smart in the same way, given it's such a big game. Is that more of a stressful situation than the Sevens tournament in a way?
This is really exciting. playing finals, playing a Champions League final. No, that's not a concern. It's exciting and it's great. It's really great. There's an English team there and that we have international players there. So I'm really looking forward to that. And that's not a concern. It's one thing in their journey that they should be really celebrating, and hopefully they get something really good out of it and enjoy that moment too.
Yeah, and a lot of your players have played a really important part in Arsenal getting there. So that's a lot of your players have, as you say, played a really important part in Arsenal getting there. How big is that again for the group and the squad overall?
Yeah, well, I think lots of English players has had a contribution. Some other international players had a big contribution too. I just hope they do really well.
Thanks, Jeremy. Just go across.
There's 6 Chelsea players, the most of any squad. What makes Chelsea players so good that you have to include them?
What makes every English player so good that I pick them? I don't just look at the club. I look at the player who plays really well and who's the best player and fits in the team. That's what how I look at it. And we've seen Chelsea has done really well, but other clubs have done really well too, of course.
Thank you.
Hi, Sarina.
Hi.
How difficult is it at this time? Obviously, this is the last international window before you name your Euro squad, to actually focus on this Nations League campaign now and to ensure that the focus is also on these games, which are very important as well?
I think it's not that hard. We know there's a big summer coming. But also in the Nations League, we want to do well too. And then it shows that the Portugal game is a very important one, because then we can still go. If we do really well there and we win that game, then we can secure the first or the second spot in the group. That's what we want to do. And at the same time, it's preparation for the Euros. And it's a very competitive game under the highest pressure. The same with the Spain game, of course. So we knew that this was coming a long time ago, so that's a fact, and we're just preparing as good as possible, and play game by game also.
Apologies. How much do you feel like you know already, and how much of a window is there of stuff questions you haven't actually answered yet?
I think basically I've answered all your questions, what you said about players. We have to see them in our environment. So we have some players in our environment that have been with us for a longer period of time. We have some players that come back from injuries, and we have some players that come into our environments for the second time, or even for the first time, and we just want to see how that all relates, and then I'll make final decisions together with my staff.
Great, thank you.
Great,
You're welcome.
We'll end it there. Thanks so much. See you in 2.5 weeks.